Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Just me, Joe Jaquin here, Double J, on a Friday. Jason is off today. He's taken a well-deserved day off. He'll be back on Monday. In next week be our last full week of the year. We'll probably get out a little early on next Friday, but then we will be off Monday and Tuesday for Christmas, and then the following week we'll be off Monday and Tuesday for New Year's before we get back to full schedule. But you can always go to allamericangold.com and order 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or leave us a voicemail. You know, we'll always call you right back, 800-951-0592. So, interesting week this week. Gold below 2,000, where we're gonna hold that key support at 1975, and then we got Jay Powell and the Fed saying, "Yeah, looks like we're gonna have to cut rates because the money's running out." Gold took off, silver took off, stocks took off, and right now I think it's one of those things where gold is starting to look comfortable over $2,000 an ounce. The realities are, I think, previously, you know, when you think about when we first hit a new all-time high and we got to like 1,900, you know, a little shy there of 2,000. You know, gold wasn't ready then yet, and over the last couple of years, it's gotten over 2,000 a few times, but never for very long. That was kind of, 2,000, we're going to sell it. Seems to be different this time around. We only spent a few days below 2,000, right back above $2,000 to the ounce. Now, silver, by the way, also held some key support at $22.50. So that's another higher high there as well. And, of course, we're expecting much bigger things coming in 2024. A lot of factors going into how this is going to shape up. How many rate cuts are we going to get? How soon does the reverse repo run out of money? You know, all that stuff. And then how's the economy doing? It's doing okay. You know, I think everybody out there would agree that, you know, it's not what it was, you know, a year ago. But it's doing okay. Is it going to be enough? Are rates going to go down enough? You know, the 10-year note, 3.9 this morning. Hopefully, with more rate cuts, it'll go even lower. You know, some people are saying maybe 3%. Will that be enough to entice people maybe to move? Right? Because housing, you know, the thing with housing, we're not going to have any supply in housing unless people move. I don't know that at 3%, you know, mortgage rate at 5 or 6. Well, if you're at 3, I don't know that you're going to move, but maybe it will. Maybe it'll lighten it up. Credit card rates probably not affected, unfortunately. I wish they would lower them. Probably not. Auto loans will get a little less expensive, at least for the people that have higher credit scores. They'll get a little bit less expensive. The payment will get a little bit less expensive. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how it all works. But on the gold and silver side, we get more than rate cuts, right? We've got reverse repos. We got more government spending. By the way, it passed. In case you were scared, the Defense Department, they're getting their money. Only a little bit of it going to Ukraine. This is not the Ukraine bill, but $886 billion. And that's even way up from last year's number. I know the troops, they get a little over 5% raise in this bill. And then I want to say most of the other departments are getting 3% more money. So even more debt there. There was only like 300, 400 million for Ukraine in that I saw. So this is still not the biggest bill out there, but enough to keep got to have the Defense Department working and operating, and that got handled. So that's, I guess, good news. I mean, good news for people that rely on defense contracts, right, and all of that stuff. Obviously, the troops who, inflation affects them as well. And it's good for gold. It's good for silver. I think we're going to see even more government spending on top of all of this. And then the supply side. That's the other side. We've gone through, hey, financially, why is gold going to look comfortable over 2,000 now? Right? And we talk, deficits, rate cuts, the ending of quantitative tightening, the reverse repo running out of money, right? These are all, I would call them financial catalysts. The central banks, right? That's not stopping, right? I mean, we're waiting here. We got, another 3 weeks, and we'll find out if they broke another record. It's going to be close to last year's record of the amount of gold being bought by central banks. But then you look at supply. Big deficits in silver. Big deficits in platinum. The UK just put some restrictions, more restrictions on Russia with palladium. I still don't love palladium. It shot up about $100. I still say stay away from palladium. But gold and silver both have very good supply fundamentals on top of it. And if we get some a big shot in demand, look out. Katie by the door as far as gold and silver prices next year. We'll be back after the break. Eight 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe J went so low this morning. A quick look in at the markets. Pretty flat day on Wall Street. The Dow's up 4. The S&P's up 2. The Nasdaq's up 60. Gold's up 5. Silver's down 10 cents. Whoops, I clicked the wrong button. Of course I did. The 10-year note off the bottom here, so it got down to 391, and we'll round it up a little bit here. 392 on a 10-year note. Crude oil's down just a little bit as well today, and Bitcoin is down today. And we'll see what happens there, too, because I think probably good news for Bitcoin, too, I think. I don't know, though. You never know with that, what the Fed was saying, but make sure you're just diversified. That's all I'm going to say. This could, is it a good setup for stocks? Some stocks, I know this is good news for banks, because it's going to make their unrealized losses less when they get there. But overall, at least for me, we're probably going to need to see more damage in the economy before they really get into the rate cuts. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But don't forget to check out our friends at YRefi. It's an up to 10.25% return. If you lock in for 5 years, you get 10.25% every year for 5 years. I mean, you add that up, hey, that's 50%. I mean, let me ask you. I mean, the Dow's 37,000 here. I mean, do you think the Dow's going to be 50,000 in 5 years? It could. I think it's going to be tough because I don't see where all the money is going to come from to make that happen, because we're coming to the end of this 50-year blitzkrieg of debt. But check them out. Maybe a good way to go. And now they've taken all the shorter rates, the 1 year, the 2 year, the 3 year, the 4 year, and paying you even more. So the worst you could do is 1 year at YRefi, 6.5%. It's pretty darn good. It's fixed. It's not correlated to Wall Street. And we don't know, right? We don't know. We're taking educated guesses. right? But if it gets ugly, you're going to be really glad you had something that wasn't correlated to it that's doing well. You know exactly what it's going to look like. You got to have 50 grand. That's the minimum. Oh, you guys know that, but here's some good news. You can use an existing IRA if you got too much money in your bank accounts, any of that kind of stuff. Just call them. 888-Y-REFI-24. 888-Y-REFI-24. And remember now they pay higher rates for shorter terms. And if you need your money back before the term ends. I mean, they didn't penalize you before. They gave you your total investment back. Whatever you put in, you get it all back. The entire principal back. Now, you're going to keep some of that interest as well. So that's pretty awesome. 888-Y-REFI-24. Before we had John Williams. He's one of the high ups in the Fed. Was at the San Francisco Fed. I think he's the vice chair now. Don't quote me. He may be New York. I don't know. I'm too lazy to look it up. He was talking today. We'll talk about him. But first, let's go through some economic data. There wasn't a ton, but there was enough. The Empire Manufacturing. This is, New York, the Northeast here. It didn't have a very good number this time. It had good numbers the last few months. New orders fell to negative 11.3. That was a little concerning. It was the third straight month of declines in new orders. Shipments, what's kind of, okay, if you don't have as many new orders, you probably don't have as many what am I trying to say here? The same amount of shipments, I got less shipping to do. It was down 6.4%. Unfilled new orders held steady, so they didn't. It's not like they got a big, huge, massive backlog that got worse. It didn't. The inventory index, it also was negative. So this was kind of a stinker. But outside of new orders, the last few reports weren't this bad. So this is a little worse as far as the New York Empire Index went, and then the U.S. PMI. Now, this one's kind of important because it's a good indicator for GDP, and it came in weak again. So this is pretty much a clean sweep here on the PMI reports as far as weakness goes. They were expecting it. We got 50.7. Unfortunately, manufacturing, that was on the service side. Anything above 50 is growth. So a small sliver of growth on the service side. On the manufacturing side, it was 48.2, so that's a negative, and that was 49.4 the last reading around. And the one big thing that stuck out in that report was prices, still elevated. So at least on the PMI side of things, they're telling us a little bit different picture that inflation, it's still there. And Darden Restaurants had earnings out today. So Darden, that's Olive Garden, that's Ruth Chris, right? They own Ruth Chris for the high end. They also own, I think, one of the lower end steakhouses as well. They had earnings today. Here was the good news. Sales were up 9%. That's pretty good. But then when you read through the report, it was, by the way, Longhorn Steakhouse is Darden as well. Olive Garden, Ruth Chris, Longhorn. They said, here's what they said. People whose household income is above $200,000 died out at a higher rate last year. That's funny. I guess they get that from your credit card data. How do they know? I mean, how do they know what your income is? Apparently they do. But shocker. Hey, if you make $200,000, I guess you can go to Olive Garden. They said households making less than $75,000 dined out less. And they said that, unfortunately, they expect customer traffic to continue to be negative in 2024. So think about it this way. Sales were up, but less people came to eat. But, of course, pricing, this is all inflation, right? You kind of see it pretty clearly in the report from Darden today. And, again, that's kind of what we've been seeing for a lot of these places, that less traffic, but, hey, it's okay because we raised prices enough that it offset the decline that we saw in customer traffic. So, once again, though, when we look in 2024, at least Darden says they expect traffic to continue to fall. Again, that was kind of most of that. General Motors is laying some people off, 1,300 workers. But that kind of was it on the report side today. We had John Williams. He was, and he, by the way, he is the New York Fed. So that came out and almost said the opposite of what Jay Powell said yesterday. It was really interesting in watching this. I'm sitting there and I'm going, that's not what your boss said. Right? The boss, he did a whole big press conference. But here's what he had to say. He says, we really aren't talking about rate cuts right now. You're not? There was a dot plot. He's a guy, he puts one of the dots on there. There was only 2 dots that said rates would stay the same. There was no dots that rates would be higher than this is the Fed's funds rate, by the way. Everybody else said rates are going to be lower. One guy or gal, one person, said that it's going to be 6 rate cuts. And again, remember that we're saying a cut would be 25 basis points. 6 of them. There's only 8 meetings. The average was 3 rate cuts. And you're telling me you're trying to tell everybody on TV you're not talking about it? Yeah, I find that one hard to believe because obviously rate cuts was all the rage on Wednesday after Jay Powell said, hey, rate hikes are no longer the base scenario when asked about cutting rates in March. So when we think about rate cuts, I think this is worth talking about. When are we going to start getting there? I believe in the meeting in January. Okay, so at the end of January, we'll have our first Fed meeting of 2024. That's when we're going to see it. They're going to start talking because we know how they operate. They want to talk about it first and then start cutting the rates. So this is why they asked them, because they're anticipating, okay, you're going to talk about it in March then. You say you're not talking about it now, but we're anticipating you talking about it in January. What about a rate cut in March? And he just said the following. I think it's just premature to be thinking about that. Really? Do you believe that? Do we believe that? Should we believe that? That you're not talking about it? That you shouldn't, premature to think about? What are you thinking about? That's what I want. Okay, if you're not thinking about that, what are you thinking about? Right? Where does this end? It's looking like we are at or near in terms of sufficient restrictions, but things can change. So I guess he did reiterate, we're probably not hiking anymore. So he was the guy that was out today, and I think if I'm guessing here, he must be one of the 2 guys that said no rate cuts. That's the only thing I can think of. But he is the New York Fed guy, so he's an important guy. He does have a vote in all of this. But I just think that was his job. He got told, Jay Powell said, okay, you know what? Maybe I was too dovish because Wall Street, look at Dow's back at 37,000. Try to knock it down a little bit, right? Go out there and tell them that we're not talking about rate cuts right now, and we're not even thinking about March because, it's so far away. Maybe what they were talking about is what they were getting their spouses for Christmas or what they were doing if the kids were coming home. That must be it. I'm sure that's what they talked about. So, again, I don't even know why we put so much stock. Well, I guess we have to, right? Because the markets react to that. Gold reacts to that. Silver reacts to that. Wall Street reacts to that. I'm all for, we got to get the lie detector on these guys. That would be a great thing. If you want to go out and talk to the public, because you tell all of us to have all of our money in the bank, have all of our money in the stock market, invest in those 401ks and IRAs. Don't we deserve the right to get the truth? Don't we deserve that? How are we supposed to prepare if you're going to come out and talk nonsense like this? We're not even thinking about it. We're not talking about it. Give me a break. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Joe Jaquin here on a Friday. Jason is off today. Been a while, man. I haven't done a solo show a long time. It's harder than it looks. Gold's up 6 right now, 2,036. Silver starting to come back here, down 4 cents right now, $24.04. Today's specials, we're going silver today. And I just, this may be 2024. I expect silver, little brother, to gain some ground on gold. Right now, the gold to silver ratio is, I got to flip it over here, still almost 85 ounces of silver. I think it's going to close that gap in 2024. I think both are going to do well. But I think silver's got a good chance to outperform gold because of the supply. It's really supply that I think is going to be the catalyst that's going to have silver catch back up here. Right now, the way I look at silver with gold at, say, the $2,035, silver should be, $31. That's just my opinion, 65 to 1. And I'm pretty conservative at 65 to 1. That's a $7 makeup. Is it going to make up all $7 next year? It could. But I do expect it to make up, 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3 more dollars in there. So and again, all supply based on silver. The silver specials today, I got 2 different options for you. Silver $half, right? The Cadillac of the utility or junk silver, the pre-1965 silver $half, U.S. government hallmarked, rolls at $205. That's less than a roll of silver quarters. $10, same amount of silver and and the roll of halves as there are a roll of quarters. You're going to pay $5 less. If you buy 25 rolls or more, $200 a roll on the silver $half. And then the U.S. Silver Eagles, right? So the U.S. Silver Eagles is pretty simple, right? Each coin's an ounce. 3/9 fine silver. They come in 20 in a roll. It's a hard white plastic roll with a green top on it. $610. If you buy 25 rolls or more, 25 rolls is a case. A case, they call it the green monster box. Why? Well, because it's green. It's about the size, I say a shoebox, about the size of, a pair of basketball shoes, roughly the size of a shoebox. It weighs 42 pounds. Inside of that green box, there are 25 rolls of 20 U.S. Silver Eagles, 500 ounces. So if you buy it that way, you're going to save $5 a roll at $15,125 at 800-951-0592. That's the number you call. Just tell the girls, hey, I want the special. So easy when you buy. If you haven't bought before, start today. Start with a roll of silver $50. $205. What do you do when you call? I mean, am I going to get inundated? No. We're going to ask you one hard question. How many would you like? That's it. There's no bait and switch. We're not going to try to sell you something else. You just tell us what you want, and we get it done for you. You want to pick it up in our offices in Arizona or Colorado? Great. You can pay and pick up. If you want to mail a check, put it on a credit card, send us a bank wire, we can do that. Third-party checks? No. Can't do that. Right? Can't do it. They won't let you. But you can pay Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover. It doesn't matter. We you know what? We only charge 2%. Nobody charges 2% for credit. Everyone charges 3+. We only charge 2. 800-951-0592. I want to take a minute because it is December. It is the end of the fourth quarter for our metals program. If you haven't or don't know about our metals program, there's several ways to buy gold. You can buy it through an IRA, right? We do precious metals IRAs. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you can buy it that way. You can buy it personally, right? Which is, kind of if you call the 800 number right now and you order the Silver Eagles or you order the silver $50, we're gonna ship it to your house. You're gonna take care of it. You're gonna have it there. Or you can go into our metals program. Our metals program, it's really simple. The minimum is $100 a month. There isn't a maximum. You can do as much as you want. But you have to do at least $100. You leave your credit card, debit card on file. You tell us the amount that you want us to hit your card. And then at the end of the quarter, so every 3 months, we ship you your product. If you're at the low end, if you're doing $100 a month, well, that's $300. Okay, well, you're going to be getting utility silver, right? You're going to be getting dimes and quarters and $50, maybe a 10th ounce gold eagle. Right? If you're doing $5,000 a month, well, you're going to get a lot more gold, obviously, than silver. And you can decide, hey, you know what? Only ship me twice a year. We can do that for you as well, once a year, whatever you want. You get to pick the day of the month that we charge your card. What does it cost to sign up? Nothing. What does it cost if I want to end the program? Nothing. What if something came up and I just can't afford it this month? Call us. Say, put it on hold. It really is really, really simple. And then every quarter you get 4 shipments a year. It's a pretty cool plan. Really is easy for people that are like, well, I can't listen every day. I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to do it this way, and you buy at all the levels. And the best part is we pool the money, so you're always getting great pricing in the metals program. 800-951-0592. We'll be right back after the break. 800-951-0592, silver $50 rolls, $205 a roll. Buy 25 rolls or more, all the way down $200 a roll on silver, $half. That puts your cost below $28. Got silver at $24. That's a great opportunity there on $half rolls. U.S. Silver Eagles. Buy the roll, $610. If you buy a case, that's 25 rolls. You're going to save $5 a roll. The case of Silver Eagles, $15,125 at 800-951-0592. And before the break, we were talking about our metals program. Right now, Brittany's been shipping them out all week this week, and we'll be shipping them out through the rest of the month here. So January is going to start a new quarter. Great time to sign up, at the beginning of a fresh quarter. If you want more information, just go to allamericangold.com, and along the top, just hit the metals plan button, and you can read all about it there at allamericangold.com. And really quickly, I want to talk IRAs, because we do a lot of IRA business, precious metals IRAs. We use a company, Gold Star Trust, just because they're inexpensive. The metals get stored in a depository. You have your choice of storing it in the Delaware depository or the Texas depository now. So the Texas depository came online either late last year, early this year. Those are the two places that you can store your precious metals there. One of the things that's been happening a lot lately is a lot of you are deciding to take delivery. And what does that mean? So when you have a precious metals IRA, unlike when you have an IRA and you buy stocks, right? I got Google and Microsoft and this and that and the ETF, you're buying the physical metal. And it works just like all other IRAs. It's just a trustee-to-trustee transaction. There are no penalties if you're rolling it from an existing IRA into a gold and silver IRA. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But one of the cool things about this is at any time, you can say, send me my metals. You can say, send me some of them, send me all of it. A lot of you, as you get older, I want to say now, it used to be 70 and a half. I think it's now 72. The government starts forcing you to sell. Right? You got to sell 10% at that point. And what we're seeing is a lot of customers, instead of taking the money by liquidating some gold or some silver, they're saying, you know what? Send it to me. And that's like selling, right? It'll count as income, but instead of you getting the income, you get your product. You get your gold, you get your silver. And what's been happening is a lot of people are like, well, gosh, I got, 1 ounce gold eagles. I don't want 1 ounce gold eagles. I'd rather have 10th ounce gold eagles. Or maybe they're like, man, I have only gold and I don't have any silver in my IRA. Man, I wish I didn't think that I would take delivery. I wish I had silver. At any time, you can call us up and change what you have in those IRAs. So if you went all gold and you went all 1 ounce gold, or maybe you went 1 ounce bars, I don't know, whatever you put in there, and you decide, well, man, you know what? That may happen. I want to get silver now. Well, it's $24 versus $48. You can always do a trade. And again, that doesn't count as income, right? You can sell some 1 ounce gold eagles or 1 ounce bars or Krugerrands or whatever you had in there. Right? You can't put $20 gold in there. Can't put old gold in there. Can't put utility silver in there. Can't put those silver $half in there. But you can say, hey, I want I'm going to sell some 1 ounce gold and I'm going to get some 10th ounce gold, or I'm going to sell some 1 ounce gold and I'm going to get some silver. You can do that. There is no penalty. You don't have to pay a fee or anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. You will have to pay to ship whatever you sold or traded back to me. But other than that, you can do that stuff anytime you want. And it is kind of a cool little option where you can say, yeah, just send me my metal. You know what? I'm 73 years old and I'm selling 10. You know what? Send it to me. You can do part of it, right? Let's just, who knows? Maybe you got $1 million in there. You got to sell $100,000 in gold and silver. You may decide, you know what? I'm going to get some of that sent to me, and then the rest of it I'm going to sell. Whatever you want to do, those options are available to you. If you want more information about precious metals IRAs, Arlene is our expert. And I know a lot of our regulars, Arlene has been out. She had major back surgery. She's doing really well. She now is helping people from home with IRAs for us. She'll be back in the office, we think, at the beginning of the year. So really good news there. But she's the best. She knows more about IRAs than maybe anybody out there. So if you want to make a change in your existing IRA and change the makeup in it and get more fractional, get more silver because you think you may take delivery, we can do that for you. If you want to set one up, you want to roll an existing IRA, maybe an old 401k, we can help you do that as well. 800-951-0592. I'm going to wrap it up. Final segment of the week coming up next. Final segment here on this Friday, silver, the silver sale today. And again, when we look at the setup for gold and silver on the what I'll call the financial side, all positive, right? Doesn't look like we're going to get any more rate hikes. The dollar looks like it's going to be softening here. Rate cuts are coming. More government spending, unfortunately, is coming. The repos and the end of quantitative tightening, right? So the excess money is running out, if you will. And then on the supply side, silver is, hundreds of millions of ounces in deficit, like 200 million ounces of deficit. And as I said, I think I said it last week, we had 11 straight years where we mined more silver than we need between, the mine, there's not a lot of scrap silver. Because, in the industrial side, that silver gets used up. Unlike gold, there's a little bit of gold in a laptop, a little bit of gold in your cell phone. When they get rid of it, they can get the gold back. Not with silver. Doesn't work that way. And right now, I think we've ended all of the 11 years of surplus. It's all gone. In the last 2 years, the deficits were so big, all the surplus is gone. So I think we're going to make ground up here. I think we're going to see silver get closer to gold, get closer to that 65 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. On top of, I think prices are going to be higher. And again, I thought we had a chance that we'd see $30 silver this year. But, we didn't, right? The economy went longer than we thought. We already thought there would be rate cuts at the end here. That's coming next year. I think we're going to see a really big move here. So rolls of silver $50, $205. Buy 25 rolls or more, $200. Rolls of silver eagles, $610. Buy a case, 25 rolls, save $5 a roll, $15,125 at 800-951-0592. And, as we continue to see how all of these things play out, it's going to be a really interesting year in 2024. It's an election year. I think the Fed wants to try to make sure that the economy doesn't really crash. I think that's going to be important to watch for. Even though that shouldn't be, but I got that feeling that they want to make sure that, in an election year, obviously if we enter a major recession, right, it's going to be obvious that Biden's not going to, he's going to be done. The Democrats won't have a fair chance, if you will. So I think we're going to see a super aggressive Federal Reserve. And what I mean by that, I don't think they're going to let the reverse repo get to zero. I think they're going to end quantitative tightening sooner than a lot of people think. Unlike what John Williams said today, the New York Federal Reserve chief, unlike what he said today, I think a March rate hike's on the table. I absolutely do. Which just, again, says more power into gold and silver. 800-951-0592. Patriot News Hour. We're done for the week. I've got one more hour left. I'm going to come right back with the half-empty cup. We got a special guest, and we're also going to talk ammo. Is ammo prices going to skyrocket next year? That's all coming up next.